Playoffs. Yeah. Playoffs. Yeah. 0.001. 0.001. That's how stressful last week was, and it doesn't get any better this week. First of all, welcome in to championship week. That's right. 8 teams remain active in our league. Whatchamadoodles have already been decided. Eric, congratulations on your 11th place. You earned it, sir. Let's see. Yeah, with that pitching stat, can I borrow some of those? Let's get in the consolation real quick. Yeah, 11th place is going to be our boy Eric, who beat Sean 7-5 for the 11th place. And fighting for that can of beans is our 2-time back-to-back champion Nick in Mikasa Sukasas versus Jesus. And for our 9th place, Brian will face off against Scott. And I love seeing Brian going out there, picking up a pitcher. You know what? That's what we want in this league. Active players, active managers. From start to finish. And yeah, Nick, I seen he's out there, and Nick had a monster week last week. I mean, he destroyed Scott 10-1. If anything, you look and you're like, he just should have been in the championship bracket. It was just that close. And that's how crazy it is to think about the fact that here we are. Ray and I were tied, if you want to look at it from that perspective. We were both a game and a half back from Shane. That to me is you're tied for second place. But when you have nowhere to put such a ranking, if you will, somebody's got to be there. And, again, she had more ties than me, which ultimately, a better winning record, but more ties. It's crazy to me to think about. I won more games, but she tied 2 more than I in the stats column, which, I mean, can't do away with ties, apparently, or maybe they shouldn't count, but again, whatever, a tie is a tie, and it's a part of our league. But regardless, here we are. And last week, it was so it wasn't even planned this way, but Ray and I decided we were going to go for our anniversary down to Miami. I forgot to scratch off the thing because we're doing the stadium run where we're trying to visit every single stadium. Obviously, we won't get to Oakland because that's going to be gone, but we're trying to get to every single stadium and watch a baseball game there, whether it's for the Braves or not. But the Braves were in town, much needed game. What a fucking game that was. It was so much fun. And I'll go ahead and get this story out there. So we get there before the game, and we got great seats. Not as great as we wanted. We wanted to be down to where, you could possibly see the players. But hey, it was great seats regardless. And Orlando and Ozzy Albies are throwing back and forth the ball before the game started. And Ozzy flips the ball to him. Orlando looks over. I stand up, and there's a huge net. And it has been so impressive to me because for those of you that went during COVID, when we went to watch the Braves play in where was it? Like in Tampa, near Tampa, but it was when the Blue Jays came to town. Ronald Acuna was in left field. He laces a ball from left field to me. And I mean, this is easily probably 250. Come on, Walker, back me up on this. Eric was there. 250 yards that he throws a baseball to me. And there's a guy right over our shoulder, not in our group, and he just reaches over my shoulder and grabs the ball before it gets to my hand. And I was like, man, motherfucker. Well, I'm kind of standing there next to this older couple, and Orlando just throws this ball over the netting, gets it right to me. Boom, I catch it. I'm like, you got to be fucking shitting me. This, for those of you that don't know, this happened in New York about 4 or 5 years ago. We went to New York, very similar. We're up there for our anniversary. It was our 10-year anniversary, so literally it was 6 years ago. And 5 years ago, sorry, we've been married 5 years. Ray's in the background letting me know. And I yell out Thor as him and all the other pitchers. Jacob deGrom, I think, was pitching that night, but Thor is amongst the pitchers that were walking to the dugout. I just yelled out his name. I didn't even know he had a ball. I just yelled out his name. He laces a ball right to me. Boom, I catch it. It was so funny, too, because the fans that were there are season ticket holders, have been there for 20 years, and haven't even caught a foul ball. And I get this thing, and they were like, can we get it? And I'm like, no, I came from Florida, bro. And then what was funny is the people that were behind us, they had been there all 3 games that the Braves were there. There were Braves fans behind us, and they were like, we haven't even gotten a foul ball either. And you just stand up and just yell Orlando, and he tattoos a ball. I'm like, that's right, baby. Now, I wanted to do something I've never done before, and that was go get this ball authenticated. We looked it up. I went to several different places. The only thing that they gave me was this dumb shit. A little card that says foul ball club member. I'm like, it wasn't a foul ball. It was thrown to me. Only to come to find out, Miami might be the only stadium. Google this. Look it up because Ray did. Miami might be the only stadium that does not authenticate game used stuff. They just don't do it. Why? I do not know. Because I bounced around to guest services, and I went to one of their stores and was like, hey, do you have an authenticator here? And they're like, huh? What? We don't. I went to 3 different people, and they didn't even speak English. They're like, no habla inglés. I'm like, how the fuck did you get hired here if you don't even speak the language of the country that you're working in? How did you get here? Oh, you do understand me, you piece of shit. But anyways, we looked it up. They said, we don't do it. I'm like, that's just dumb. So I got this little goofy ass postcard looking thing that says it was a foul ball. I'm going to mark it out and be like, no, it was a thrown ball. That motherfucker threw that shit to me. And no, I didn't get an opportunity to go get him to sign it because they at least do their security to get down to the place where you would have been near the dugout. They won't even let you down. They're like, no, if you don't have a ticket, we don't let you down. Even after the game, they wouldn't even let us down. And we were like, all right, fine, whatever. So we just know better next time. But again, people were there. I remember it. It was cool. So, but it was very fitting that Ray and I, who are facing off against each other Sunday night, we're driving back and from Miami, drove all the way up. And I basically called it. I said, look, you got Byron Buxton. He's in a doubleheader. I've got Nick Castellanos. I did not want to play Nick Castellanos at all. I was like, I do not think that he is going to do what I need for him to do in this game. I think Tyler McGill is doing very well for the Mets right now. And I was like, I feel like Nick's not going to do shit for me. So I said, if Byron Buxton doesn't do what you need him to do, and I even said, I was like, look, he's probably only got one more AB. He's probably only got one more at bat in this game. And he comes around, strikes out. I'm like, okay, all right. And around that time, it was too late. Nick Castellanos' game had already pretty much started. I'm like, all right, fuck City. Nick Castellanos hits a single. I'm like, all right, all right, all right, all right. We keep driving, and I'm just steadily like, I'll refresh the thing. You know, I'd turn my phone back on just to see where we're at. I pull it up. Nick Castellanos, 2 for 2. I'm like, okay. And then I guess the Twins tried to make a little comeback against the Red Sox, and I guess Byron got one more AB. Didn't get it. I was like, oh shit. Nick Castellanos has to, I don't know. Like, I was like, this doesn't mathematically make sense in my head because the percentages were not dropping like for every bat. Like, it just didn't make sense. And then I want to say he went 0 for 2 for his next 2 at bats, but he went 2 for 4. And yeah, Shane said it. Nick Castellanos won me that game. He won me that game. I cannot fucking believe that it came down to, again, Sunday Night Baseball. Now, here's the kicker for this week, and we'll talk a little bit. I actually have to work, but I gotta work here in a little bit. But we have a little kicker this week, Shane, and that is there is no Sunday Night Baseball. As of right now, our season should be over by about 7 o'clock. I've looked ahead, looked at the schedule, and I'm like, wow, there's no Sunday Night Baseball. I want to say the latest game is the Cubs and the Reds, and I think it starts at 3:40. That's crazy. I don't know why. I just think it's crazy. So last week was a nail biter because it already was put out into the world. If Ray and I tie, she's won. She beat the shit out of me twice in the season. For me to come out and win with a .001, it feels like it was destiny for me and Shane, and it's for Shane to get revenge. That's all it is. Because Shane has been nothing but the most targeted team of my podcast here recently, because I'll go, if I was to die tomorrow, it's getting engraved that Shohei trade was bullshit. I don't care what he says. And you now have the number one, you've had for weeks now, the number one and the number 2 best batters. I cannot compete with that, sir. Here we go again. Like, I don't even have Ketel Marte to start this fucking depleted Monday of 4 games. I don't even have one of my best hitters. And let me put this out there too. Ketel Marte is the only player that I drafted this season with and will end with. I love that fact. But Ketel was one of my best offensive, if not my best offensive player last week. He hit 4 home runs, drove in 8 RBIs, got me a stolen base. I mean, he was my fucking guy last week, and he's not even going to play today. I need every bat. I don't understand how Arizona just thinks, oh, it's a lock. It's not a lock for you. You're in the fucking playoff race. We're one of the teams, the Braves are, that are nipping at your toes, and you bench one of your best players? What are you doing? But if they lose and it's because they benched Ketel Marte, well, you get to look back on this moment because we're chasing you guys. The Padres have all but locked it up. It's the fucking Diamondbacks, the Mets, and the Braves, and you're benching your best batter. Well, not your best, because, I mean, they're stacked. They're loaded, and we'll get into it in just a second. They're stacked and loaded with a guy that I fucking drafted that is now, thanks to my cousin Eric, on the fucking opposition, and this dude has turned a corner, and he's probably going to be the reason that Shane wins, if not a contributing factor. But last week was big. I mean, it was a nail biter for sure, but what made it beautiful was both her and I we had 102 games to be played, both of us, and I told you guys to start the week, she was going to win stolen bases. She won stolen bases, but it wasn't handedly, but she did win them. And it came down to, okay, I made a move in the beginning of the week. My first pick was Lance Lynn, and he probably won it for me too. Quality start, gave me a fucking win. If I did not pick up Lance Lynn to start the week off, I would have not had a win. And I mean, didn't win strikeouts, but his win, the 1 point that I got from him that made a fucking difference was that dub. And I got it from him. And then he went on the fucking IL like 5 minutes later. He probably walked his fat ass to the dugout, and that was it. But it's really fucking with my mind right now that it's that razor thin and that choice that I made last week that made it the difference, in my opinion. Now, for those of you that don't or didn't watch, I also was looking at Victor Robles because of his stolen bases. I'm still looking at him. It is out there now. And once I post this, it's out there. But it's like, I don't know if I should pick him up. And now I'm really, like, I see that he picked up Quintana, Jose Quintana, and Quintana, whatever his fucking name is. But whatever. Let's look at the other matchup that was last week. I mean, Josh, we feel sorry for you again, but you're right. I'm fixing to go through the buzzsaw that was Shohei Ohtani. 11 runs, 6 home runs, 17 RBIs, 7 stolen bases. You can't compete with that. You just can't. That's one fucking wrecking crew that put up those numbers. And then you've also got contributing factors of, oh, he also has Aaron Judge. And oh, he also has Jake Berger and Jose Altuve and Bryce Harper and Corbin Carroll. This is, in my opinion, one of, if not the easiest locks offensively for this week. He destroyed in the stolen bases. And for Josh, man, I mean, your team at least put up a good fucking fight. Julio Rodriguez is trying to win, trying to make the playoffs for his team, and he's showing out, and he put up, a great offensive. He showed you the reason why you drafted him, but it wasn't enough. And stolen bases, I mean, you were able to get some from Gunnar, and fat ass Max Muncy got you one, but I mean, it wasn't enough. And nobody is sitting here saying like, oh my gosh, you got a good team. No, it wasn't enough, and it wouldn't have been enough. No one would have been able to hold a candlestick to what Shohei Ohtani did last week. 6 fucking home runs and 17 RBIs in one fucking game. Let me put it out there to the world. Walk his ass. I know it's the Dodgers, but what are you doing, Miami? Like, well, he went 6 for 6 on your punk asses and 10 RBIs, 3 home runs. Like, come the fuck on, man. But, he's playing. I want to say he's going to the Padres, and is he playing in Colorado this week? It doesn't scroll up that much, but he's just going to have another stupid week. So it's inevitable. But it's like, dude, what are these pitchers thinking or not thinking? Pitching wise, again, it was crazy to look at a team that's been struggling to try to find offense, and yet Hader, who's a relief pitcher, gets a win. Luis Severino got a win. Zach Gallen got a win with he got a win with a 7.20 ERA against Milwaukee. Like, how the fuck does that even happen? But he's got some easy matchups. Shane went out and grabbed this Clark Schmidt. He's had a fantastic fucking second half, and he's going to do just fine tomorrow against Baltimore, because Baltimore's struggling. And I love that Shane's like, I don't have any pitchers starting the week. You need to look at your own fucking team, dude. Like, because Luis Sever, do just a marginal little bit of research, and you would find out that, oh yeah, Clark Schmidt's going to be pitching tomorrow. And so is Luis Severino. You went out and grabbed Quintana because it had a check mark beside him. How many times have we said, don't trust the fucking people at Yahoo? They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Granted, neither do some of these teams with their own players, but come the fuck on, dude. Like, just grab your little cellular phone. It's more than just a TikTok machine. I'm just venting to you because I know the destination. I've got a nice little spot on my wall where I would hang the Franklin, but I also think I'm just gonna never hang anything there because it's not going there. Because it's going back on Shane's mantle. This is my problem with this. The words attrition were just used when saying this is a war of attrition. Okay, but allow it to be fair. I lost 2 players. I lost a season-ending Rafael Devers. He was not having his season, but he was injured, and now he's on the IL. And I lost a pitcher. I only get to pick one. I will limp through the championship with not being able to have a full roster. Shane picks up one guy today. He's got a full roster. I don't. I highly doubt that any of these teams, like, they're not really going to be benching Harper. The Astros aren't going to be doing anything. I mean, Miami's got no reason not to bench Berger. Trevor Story's coming back. Boston's pretty much probably out of it, I think. But I think that there's a race for them. Maybe. Let me see. Say pick up your phone and look and see. Here we go. Major League Baseball. And now I'm in no man's land in my house. I have no internet signal. So standings, click on that. Again, just get the blue circle. Wild card. So the Phillies, Dodgers, Milwaukee have all locked up their spots. Like I said, there's a race to the finish with Arizona, the Mets, and the 2 games back Braves. That's it. Guys like the Cubbies and the fucking Cardinals, they're out. But then when you come down here, you got Baltimore, Detroit, Kansas City. You've got a race. Well, Boston is very, very probably out of it. I'm not sure if they're eliminated or not. I don't see the eliminated symbol next to them. But again, they're very, very close. They're 4 games back from that wild card spot. So, but Seattle and Minnesota. But again, Trevor Story just came back from an injury. So, anyways, this guy's got a full roster. He's fine. He's got the util spot taken up, and he's gonna bounce in, Arenado. But again, I'm limping in there. I have one move that I have to make or will make to grab either a batter or pitcher. Well, let's look at this, shall we? I'm going up against the best offense in the league. Now, Shane's going to be like, look, motherfucker, look at what your team did last week. Okay, dude. But still, I'm also looking at what you did too last week, motherfucker. You went with 8 wins. You got 8 fucking wins, and you got like a 2 ERA. I'm sorry, a 3, but 71 strikeouts. It's like, and then you go out and pick up another pitcher because Merrill Kelly has a boo-boo. His fat ass is going. At least with their pitching, Arizona's like, get your fat ass out there and pitch. Fucking Woganowski or whatever the hell the dude's Woogie from what the fuck is that movie? I forget something about Mary. But yeah, dude, I mean, it would help if I could roster a full fucking team and have, enough batters and enough pitchers to at least go up against you. But again, I shouldn't be here anyways. I pull up my fantasy playbook and my team is ranked 8th. So what I did last week was just luck, if you want to call it that. But I'm damn sure not going to be able to do anything when they bench guys like Ketel Marte. So let's just put it out there. Put it that way. And then my backup bats are dog shit. Like Wood and Rafaela and Volpe. I mean, come on, dude. Like Volpe I can't believe he contributed with a home run because he hasn't gotten one in so freaking long, and he got me a stolen base. But again, I'm not competing with a dude that literally had what Ray's team had in stolen bases, and that was one guy. you know, again, Ray, hats off to her. She had a fucking amazing season, and she's, going to be playing Josh next week for third. I need to make sure I mention like all of this with my 4 minutes left in this podcast because I'm not going too long. Again, I have to go to work. Let's talk about the consolation real quick. I mentioned it. Nick destroyed Scott last week, and he had a monster week. 17 home runs, 44 RBIs. I mean, Tristan Casas went off for him, and his namesake did what he needed him to do. He picked up Francisco Alvarez. Francisco's having a great end of season, and Trey Turner finally started shaping up, and it's just, it is what it is. But Mandalorians didn't run out of steam necessarily. He's gotten some great results from Manny Machado. Again, a quiet third baseman, just a quiet season for him, in my opinion. And Dansby Swanson, I can't believe he started to turn it up like he did. And then he's got some really good talent, across the board. But Nick he destroyed him. But the pitching was very close. He only beat him by 1 win, 2 strikeouts, and 1 quality start. I mean, it was definitely a good matchup for these two guys to have for you know, I don't want to say the last game of the season for them, but definitely, close to it. Eric had a fantastic pitching week, 118 strikeouts. I mean, what the fuck? Blake Snell, Zach Wheeler, Yu Darvish. The old men stepped up and they did something for the old man and Eric. But, again, he did that for 11th place. And his offense kind of pitter-pattered around a 238 batting average and 5 home runs. I mean, I think Ray would have beaten him in a lot of the categories there. And the Hitman got some Matt Olson love, and we need to continue that for him coming down the stretch. But was this another week where he didn't? Yeah, and Scott must be checked out because I think this is back-to-back weeks where he hasn't even gotten 27 strikeouts. So it's kind of hard to gauge there. Really with a team that's not playing. So, I mean, kudos to Eric, but you weren't playing anybody. Jason and Chris, Walker had the week that he wished he would have had last week. I mean, Michael Harris definitely stepped up. I mean, again, these are the guys that need to be stepping up for the Braves in Michael Harris and Matt Olson, and they need to keep that good times rolling into this week. He went and picked up Ozzy Albies. He's got Freddie Freeman, and this was a good matchup. Mookie Betts, Jose Ramirez. I mean, it sucks that some of these guys aren't going to be factors into the playoffs for the last week because they're done. Chris won 6th place, right? Isn't that right? Or 5th place. Chris just won 5th place. Is that right? I can't remember. I'll look at it. Here we go. Is that happening this week? No, yeah. Chris, congratulations on winning 5th place. Way to go, baby. You would say, look, I shouldn't have even been there, and here I am. So this is our matchups of the week, matchups. This is our matchups for this week. Brian will face off against Mandalorians for 9th place. And Nick will face off against Jesus for 7th. Josh and Ray will face off for 3rd place. Bragging rights are right there, but I will face off against, it's undeniable, this is Shane's to lose. I don't care what you say, Shane. I shouldn't even be here, and that's it. And now I'm going to be limping in with 2 roster spots, not being on my team, and that's fine. It is what it is. Me having moves wouldn't have made that much of a factor because I wouldn't have predicted that Rafael Devers would have been out of this, but it's undeniable unless your teams start benching those players, I've got no fucking chance in hell in competing against the best players in offense on your team in Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. And then let's mix in Corbin Carroll and Bryce Harper and Jose Altuve. I don't have a fucking chance in hell. So I will do my best. I am actively trying to find a player to fill either one of my pitching or bats. I don't think it's a good idea for me to grab a bat, but then I don't know if it's a good idea for me to just have 5 starting pitchers. Good luck, Shane. But Nick, get his address because that's where it's going. Peace. It's the motherfucker.